everyone. My name is Richard Hartunian, and I am the United States Attorney for the Northern District of New York. This afternoon, I'm joined by several great law enforcement partners, and we're going to start to my left. We have the Special Agent in charge of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms out of New York, SAC, Sean Benedict. Next, we have the Special Agent in charge of Homeland Security Investigations, Angel Melendez. Next to him, our United States Marshal, Dave McNulty. Behind me, we have the Ulster County Sheriff, Paul Blarkham, and he's joined by our District Attorney in Ulster County, Holly Carnwright, who's here, over here on my right. In addition, we have left from the State Police, the New York State Police Major for this area, Major Robert Gregory, and I think I've got everybody. So, oh yes, the Undersheriff, Mike Freer as well. So as you can see, we have a collection of the area's best agencies from the local, state, and federal level who are all here. We're joined by federal and state prosecutors from my office to announce a major operation that occurred early this morning. We had over 300 law enforcement officers arrest members of a significant drug trafficking organization that was based here in Kingston. The arrests were made in locations across Ulster and Dutchess County, with a few taking place elsewhere within the Hudson Valley. This was a year-long investigation, and during the investigation, law enforcement officers seized 20 firearms, as well as about 5 kilograms of cocaine, 153 grams of heroin, 90 grams of crack cocaine, about 2 pounds of marijuana, and even oxycodone pills, about 75 of those. Just in today's operation, this morning, there were significant seizures of approximately a half a kilogram of cocaine, 6 firearms, including 5 handguns and a shotgun, about 1.5 kilos of marijuana, and a kilogram cocaine press. Now, these defendants have been charged, and we've got their kind of the outline of the case here on the screen. They've been charged in federal court in Albany, and most of them are being arraigned or having their initial appearances here as up in Albany as we speak. We have 25 defendants charged with conspiring to distribute cocaine. 6 defendants face federal firearms charges, including for possessing Glock handguns, which are powerful handguns that are typically used by the police. 5 defendants are charged with possessing cocaine with intent to distribute it, and 5 are charged with possessing heroin with intent to distribute it. Importantly, some of these defendants are affiliated with the Bloods, the street and prison gang. Now, each defendant, of course, is presumed innocent unless and until they are proven guilty. But if convicted, the defendants face some significant penalties. 4 of them face maximum penalties that include imprisonment for life and a $10 million fine, with a statutory minimum term of imprisonment of 10 years. The other 27 defendants face maximum penalties that include 20 years imprisonment and a $1 million fine. Now, today's arrests, as you can see and as I have mentioned, result from a major multi-agency effort to dismantle a highly organized drug trafficking operation that was based in Kingston and had significant ties and operations in Ulster and Dutchess counties. The organization distributed drugs throughout the Hudson Valley and had sources of supply in New York City and California. They obtained their drugs from a source in New York who arranged for the drugs to be shipped from California and then to Kingston and Poughkeepsie. The drugs were often stuffed into karaoke machines and other electronic devices in an effort to evade law enforcement detection. Now, the point of investigations and operations and prosecutions like this is not only to arrest drug dealers, but also to improve the quality of life in the places where those drug dealers operated. Drug dealing inflicts a heavy toll on drug users, their families, and the communities where drugs are sold. With these arrests, we think we've improved people's lives in these communities and have improved public safety. And the success of our efforts to preserve public safety and our healthy communities depends on the kind of teamwork that is on display here. So to that end, I really want to thank not only these agency heads who are here, but the men and women who work for them, the agents and officers and deputies who put their lives on the line every day to do dangerous operations like this and to take dangerous people off the street. In addition, I want to thank my colleagues in the Southern District of New York with whom we worked on this case. We're under no illusions that today's operation will end drug distribution here or anywhere, but we vow to continue our work to achieve that goal. Indeed, that's what we're here for. We work together, we collaborate, we share information, and then we come together in an operation like the one today to make an impact. And we think this will have an impact. I have a word to anyone who tries to take the place of this crew. We see that happen periodically. We take off an organization. Some people view it as an opportunity. They should understand and heed our warning that we're here to stay, that we're going to continue to work together, and that we really believe that we're going to make a difference by keeping an eye on the community, working very hard to achieve the ultimate goal of a safe and healthy community. So with that, I want to call up to the podium the Special Agent in charge of Homeland Security Investigations, Melendez. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you for covering this important incident or enforcement operation today. My name is Melendez. I am the Special Agent in charge for Homeland Security for ICE's Homeland Security Investigations, New York Field Office. I'm pleased to announce, as mentioned by the U.S. Attorney, the successful operation investigation named Operation Blood Clot, with today's 31 arrests pursuant to 5 indictments issued by a federal grand jury. This investigation initiated in April of 2015, and it focused specifically on the drug and firearms trafficking activities of these members out of Poughkeepsie and out of Kingston, New York. Led by Rommel Hearn, 37, and Marcus Fisher, 39, and in Kingston by Ricardo Langston, 31 years old, an alleged blood street gangs boss. Many of the members or individuals arrested today, as mentioned by the U.S. Attorney, allegedly have pledged their allegiance to various vicious and intimidating gangs, specifically those mentioned blood gangs, G-Shine, Sex Money, and Murder Cliques of the Blood Organization. Not only, the thing about this is that they really operated an open drug market with a total disregard, not only to law enforcement, but also to the communities that resided in the areas that they operated. And to a certain extent, they operated as a family business, as exhibited by today's arrest, where we were able to arrest a mother and her 2 children that were involved in the drug trafficking activities as well. The drugs and weapons that they sold was the sole source of income of this organization. And the amount of narcotics that they were distributing in the Ulster County was very significant. Now, the thing about this that you need to take note of is that most of the time, this is the type of crime that we see in the big cities, right? Well, these drug trafficking organizations, be it gangs or just straight up drug trafficking organizations, are branching out to rural areas because they believe by doing so, they are going to be able to cheat law enforcement and that they will not be brought to justice. And I tell you today, as a result of today's operation, I believe we're sending a very loud message that that is not the case. That wherever you attempt to distribute narcotics, wherever you attempt to sell and traffic weapons, wherever you attempt to intimidate and threaten the law-abiding citizens, of places like Ulster County, look at the people here today. We are resolved to work committed, together, collaborative, to ensure that we're able to dismantle and disrupt these organizations. Now, the thing about it is that what's also significant about this is that this is an investigation that, as you can see, it's a multi-defendant investigation. And I dare to venture it's one of the larger type of prosecutions in this area regarding drug trafficking and weapons trafficking. Now, when you look at that, it's really amazing. It's a testament to the commitment and dedication of the law enforcement officers and the prosecutors that were part of this investigation, because it took a year. And most of these cases, in my experience, multi-defendant cases of this nature take more than 1 year. So it's a testament to the commitment of the law enforcement personnel that work in this area, that we want to ensure that the citizens live in neighborhoods that they deserve, free of drugs, free of weapons, free of intimidation, and free of threats and violence. You know, street gangs, drug trafficking organizations that operate out of our neighborhoods are really a matter of national security, right? We focus on a lot of the other organizations that are a threat to our nation. These organizations are a real threat to our neighborhoods and to our country. And we're doing everything that we can within the law, collaboratively, to ensure that we can continue to dismantle and disrupt these organizations. I'd like to congratulate and thank Ulster County Sheriff Paul Barkman and his Ulster Regional Gang Enforcement Narcotics Task Force. If it wasn't for Sheriff Barkman's vision of implementing the urgent task force, which has been around for years, we wouldn't have had this collaborative platform where all these agencies came into to work as one. And I really have to commend him and thank him for that vision. I also want to thank the great work of the investigators that were involved in this investigation. Investigators Kyle Bodie, Detective Sergeant Abe Marswitz, and investigators Jamie Cummins and Rob Leonardo, who were so dedicated to get the job done. I want to also thank, importantly, our partners, SAC, the Special Agent in Charge, Sean Benedict of the ATF, and the New York State Police Superintendent, George Beach, as well as the United States Marshal, David McNulty, and also the local prosecutors for their support and their willingness to work together to dismantle this organization. I want to thank, in particular, U.S. Attorney Richard Hartney and his team, because if it wasn't for the dedication of these prosecutors, we wouldn't have gotten these people off the streets as soon as we were able to do so, as we exhibited today. The streets of Kingston and its surrounding communities, I believe, are really safer today because of the hard work that led up to today's arrest. And I just want to put something out there. The U.S. Attorney mentioned that one of the methodologies that they utilized to smuggle cocaine into the area were utilizing karaoke machines in which they secreted and stored the cocaine. Well, to those individuals that were arrested today, regretfully for them, there's no karaoke nights in the federal institution. Thank you.
Okay, so that summarizes the case from our perspective. We have a couple of visuals here. You can kind of see a summary of the defendants and the nature of the seizures, 4 indictments all told. And we have another visual here which just sets forth a series of maps, 2 maps in Kingston and Poughkeepsie, which depict the general area where the defendants were located. You can get some kind of sense of where they were found and where they operated from. So in terms of much more detail about the case, I expect that it will be unfolding in the coming days and weeks in federal court. I would call your attention to any upcoming proceedings that may be occurring. We expect there will be some detention hearings and other hearings in court at which more detail will emerge about the case. But we want to thank you very much for coming. I want to thank these agency leaders who have been terrific partners with us. We have all been following the case and discussing the case. I want to thank my team from the U.S. Attorney's Office, starting with my criminal chief, Beth Coombe, my narcotics chief, Dan Hanlon, and the prosecutors who we've had working on the case, Rob Sharp and Solomon Shinerock. They've worked really hard to put this case together, and we think it'll be an impactful prosecution. So if there's some questions, we'll try to answer them for you. If not, we'll refer you to some of the materials that we've got here. Yeah.
The neighborhoods where, tell us where.
I don't have the specific neighborhoods, but we can get that for you, certainly, yeah.
Were these guys utilizing any front businesses, properties? Is that part of the?
I think that some of that may unfold, as you will see, coming days. Yes.
You had mentioned that some of the defendants may spend, if convicted, could spend life in prison. And you
Yes.
also mentioned that there are that a lot of them were connected to gangs like the Bloods, etc. Were those cases where they're spending considerable time in jail? Was it not only because of drugs, but other crimes as well?
Right. So, as it works in the federal system, the defendant's history has impact on the potential sentence that they face. And so, as you will see when you look at the indictment, and we can point out some specifics for you when we get offline, some of the defendants, based upon their prior criminal history, has faced enhanced penalties. That's generally how the federal drug scheme works, the drug charge scheme works. And so there will be, I think I said, 4 defendants who are going to face enhanced penalties, and we lay some of that detail out in the indictment. In terms of the gang-related activity, we don't have gang-specific charges in these indictments, but we expect that that is going to be a part of the proof and will unfold as the case develops in court.
Can you speak at all to how you guys, found out about this a year ago?
You know, we don't like to talk about how we launch our cases, but I can tell you in general terms that we use a whole variety of information, and that's really the beauty of a multi-agency approach that we employ. We have our local law enforcement officers who are kind of our boots on the ground, who have informants and who develop information through other means. And we partner with the state police, a great organization that's got lots of experience in this, and our federal agencies who can bring some resources to bear and some expertise. I think we can really develop a real strong approach. So that's, I think, fair to say what we did in this case. In terms of the detailed techniques that we use, stay tuned. There'll be more on that unfolding in court. Yes. Yes, sir.
Is everybody in custody, and we get mugshots and indictments?
So,
and was there any resistance during
so
the...
no, it was a safe operation, as has been reported to me. We have all but 3 defendants in custody. We can get you the names of those who aren't. With respect to mugshots, we generally don't provide those. Federal.
They're great online. People love them.
Yeah, I understand that, and the federal government and federal prosecutors' offices have some prohibitions on some of that kind of stuff. So we get you what we can, and certainly we can get you the names of the 3 who are remaining at large. Yes.
Were any of these people in custody at the time?
Don't believe so. I have to check on that for sure. We can check on that and get back to you on that.
Do you have a sense, I know it's kind of a rough estimate, but how much cocaine these guys are moving over the course of a year or a week or a month?
Yeah, I think we're still drawing up estimates on that, but when you see seizures of this magnitude, I think it's fair to say this is a large-scale distribution operation.
Did a kilo press?
A kilo press, it bespeaks a group that is in the business of transporting and shipping, that kind of weight, which is obviously large quantity. So those are the kinds of pieces of evidence that, as this case unfolds, I expect are going to be very, very important and relevant to a determination of ultimate guilt, and then the sentences that some of these defendants are going to be facing. Yeah,
these
we
guys-
have a scheme in federal court, as you may know, where it's not just seizures that can become part of the proof, but the defendants can be accountable for amounts that we can prove by other means as well. And that's one of the benefits of the federal system, one of the strengths of the federal system. And so we're going to, I expect to be utilizing all the tools and all the laws that we have available to us to come to some finality with respect to the question that you've asked. Yes.
Were all these people picked up in Kingston? We heard that there was another raid in Manhattan.
Yeah, so there's a related case that unfolded in Manhattan. I alluded to thanking my colleagues from the Southern District as we were working in concert with them. Other defendants arrested. I believe there's some press material that's come out on that case, and we'll help you get your hands on that as well. Okay? Okay, yes.
You mentioned gangs, and I got the Bloods. Can you please repeat the other gangs?
Blaine, Angel, you had...
Yes, and there are cliques of the Bloods gang. So we're talking about sex, money, murder, the SMM, and we're also talking about the G-Shine. So actually, G-Shine. So actually cliques of the Bloods gang.
How was that spelled?
G-Shine?
Yeah.
G-Shine. Common spelling.
You guys do the street sales as well as they vertically integrated from bringing it in large quantities to selling it hand to hand in places, or was it more of a middle level distribution?
So both, I think both the techniques were used. There'll be evidence that we expect to develop of sales, hand-to-hand sales. There's some distribution counts in the indictments that you'll see, as well as some seizures, which are more in the nature of possession with intent to distribute.
Do you know the brand of the karaoke machines?
You know, I don't have that information. I apologize.
And you mentioned that they were also stashing them in other electronic devices. Somebody did. What they might be.
You'll have to stay tuned for that. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. One last question.
Can you confirm that one of the places that was a fine was a music store?
It was a music store. I'm not. I have to check on that. We'll check on that for you. Okay. If I can confirm it, I will. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming. Thank you to the agencies, and again, thank you to the men and women of all the departments involved.